Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and I was always told I had a voice radio, so today I am bringing you round 2 from the Norwich League Challenge, and this time we've got a beautiful new format matchup for you. On the right, we've got Alex Pike playing Mega Gardevoir, lovely chap, and on the left, we have got Scott Simmons playing Volcanion. 2 new format decks that came around with the most recent set, and 2 very good players. I'm a little bit excited about this. So it looks like Alex has won the flip and will be going first. We are in single game here, I should remind you. And a Pokeball of all things. He hits ahead, so he gets to search his deck for any Pokemon he likes. Straight off the bat, we've seen something a little bit unusual in this matchup, because when was the last time you saw somebody play a Pokeball in a Pokemon trading card game? I'm guessing it's been a very long time. It sets up beautifully for him here. Now, it is an old version, but it was reprinted in Generation, so we're good. It allows him to go for any Pokemon he likes. So clearly here, he's got an EX-heavy deck. He's going to go for Hooper, use the ability Scoundrel Ring to search for any free EX cards, and presumably it's going to be either a Gardevoir Shaymin or a Gardevoir Mega Gardevoir. 3 in some combination of Gardevoir, Mega Gardevoir, and Shaymin. Sometimes people like to go for the Mega on turn 1 to know they've got it for the next turn. But then again, if you're going to play an N or a Professor Sycamore, that is not going to work. Although actually, Alex here, he just goes straight for 3 regular Gardevoirs, which is very interesting. And he doesn't go here for a... He hasn't gone for a Shaymin. But again, maybe not the end of the world here, because he's probably got some kind of draw power in his deck or in his hand at the moment anyway, so he doesn't need to muck about with all that Shaymin malarkey. Oh, and he's got 1 in hand. There we go. That will explain. It's strange to not see people grab a Shaymin from a Hooper, but of course, if they are in a situation where they already have... Oh my goodness, that is not good. That is really not good. I hope he plays a second Super Rod, because it looks like he got rid of all 3 of his Megas there, and the Super Rod. And if you have to get rid of all 3 of your Megas, I mean, unless he's playing a 4-4 line, but he'll really struggle with 1 Mega Gardevoir for the rest of the game. And make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen, it is the Mega Gardevoir we want here. That is a quite horrific turn 1 Sycamore. So we see a Trainer's Mail coming down here from a Sky Field, and I'm wondering what Alex is doing here. Now, I believe this might have been... No, this was just before. This might have been the day Karen was legal, actually. I believe this was the 7th of October, which was the very first day, I believe, Karen was legal. So maybe he's playing a Karen here? Because honestly, I mean, he's got the 3 Gardevoirs, he's got the energy, he's got the Spirit Link. As it stands at the moment, if he's just gotten rid of 3 Megas and his Super Rod, that is really worrying. Scott, for his part, has not had the best starter, but it's not as bad as a Shaymin. Oh, that is a bad start from Scott. He starts with the Mega when you really want to start with the regular Volcanion. He gets an energy, he gets a Fighting Fury belt to up the HP here, but he's not actually able to do anything else. So we see the Skyfield coming down from Alex there. Scott is going to need to draw something sooner or later. Now we see a Pokeball. It is a Tails. I'm going out on a limb here and suggesting that Alex is playing Fungus. Fungus has the ability that puts Pokeballs back into your hand. 3 of them, if I remember correctly. So I think that's why he's playing the Pokeballs here. It's not just for funsies or because he thinks it's amazing. Now, he has got the Absol there. The thing that gives me hope for Alex in this game is... Oh, and then we see another Spirit Link there and another Spirit Link. That's all right. And here comes a Trainer's Mail. So Alex, he's got a couple of Sycamores already this game, couple of Trainer's Mails, and there's the Super Rod. I was going to say, the thing about Mega Gardevoir is, it is 3 Pokeballs on a Fungus. You would expect him to be playing multiple Super Rods. And the reason is, Mega Gardevoir's attack allows you to discard Pokemon on your bench and do extra damage. If you're constantly discarding Pokemon from your bench, you are going to want a way to recover said Pokemon, so you don't just end up in a situation where you've got absolutely nothing. So we do see the Super Rod there, and that is good. It means Alex is going to be able to have some Megas. And to be honest, I bet you wish he had all 3 Megas now, because all 3 of those Gardevoir have been down for a turn, and they've all got a Spirit Link on them. So, decent start, shall we say. And then, of course, once you Super Rod everything back in, you play Fungus, you get to grab 3 Pokeballs from your discard, flip all 3 coins again, and hopefully grab 1 or 2, or if you're really lucky, 3 of your Pokemon back from the deck. So a fast start here from Alex, but he still needs to get an attack off. And this is... Oh, and there is the Fungus, ladies and gentlemen. There is the Fungus. He gets 3 Pokeballs back. He's only played 2, so he only gets 2. And he just plays them straight away again. There's a Heads. And there's the Mega. And can he hit a second Heads to get a second Mega out? Or indeed anything else that he likes. Now, he's still going to need a way to get that Shaman out of the active. There comes a Pokeball, and it's another Heads. That is 3 out of 4 on Heads on Pokeball so far. And if you can hit 75% Heads on Pokeball, that turns Fungus into one of the best cards we have ever had in the standard format. That is Redonk, ladies and gentlemen. Pure, unadulterated Redonk. So Alex now filling up his bench, playing that Shaman, putting his bench up to 8. But he can't get the Shaman out of the active, and that's the worry here. What he really wanted to do was start attacking, and he couldn't have got a KO there. Too much HP on the Volcanion, but he could have done a lot of damage. He could have at least half KO'd it, and then this turn he'd be able to get the KO. So that Shaman stuck in the active is a big problem. Now he retreats the Shaman, but Scott has had one more turn to start setting up here. He's got the second Volcanion on the bench. He's got an energy on that Volcanion. Scott is being given time here, and Volcanion is not the best or worst deck ever. It is a good deck, but I think generally it should be a better deck than Mega Gardevoir. Mega Gardevoir really struggles to one-hit KO Pokemon with 220 HP, for instance. So, in the absence of healing, etc., etc., I like Volcanion here. So, you really need to just get set up here. And Alex, he's doing well, but he's just a turn too low. So, I believe that was a steam up from Scott there. Just discarding an energy from his hand so his basic Pokemon, basic fire Pokemon, do 30 more damage to the active. You saw there that Alex... Oh, we see a switch there. We saw that Alex actually chose to discard one of his benched Pokemon to do an extra 10 damage, to do 120 in total. Maybe it was to try and get around that Fighting Fury bout, although it does 110, which is exactly half the amount of HP Volcanion has. Honestly, I think it was more a case of Hooper is a very obvious Lysander target, and I just don't want it on the bench. I've cleared a bench space, it can't be stuck in the active. Now, you notice Alex is playing Hawlucha, which forces your opponent to switch their active to one of their choice. And Scott did really well benching a second Volcanion there. Had Scott not benched a second Volcanion, then a Hawlucha could have come down from Alex, forced that Volcanion back in the active, although you have a choice. Oh my goodness, that is a lot of Pokemon. And it looks like he actually discarded 7 bench Pokemon there to get a one-hit KO on the 180 HP Volcanion. He did it very quickly. I think he filled up his bench and then discarded 7. He did have to get rid of a Gardevoir with a Spirit Link, so that was a slightly risky play. But of course, as soon as he takes out that Volcanion on the bench, then he's down to 2 prizes, and he's doing all right here. It doesn't look like Scott's going to get a one-hit KO anytime soon. possible, but not anytime soon. Floatstone on Volcanion is huge. It gives him a little bit of room to wiggle here. And one of the things, like going back to the Hawlucha point, you do get a choice of what to put active when your opponent plays a Hawlucha, but if you've only got one bench Pokemon, you no longer have a choice. So now, what does Alex want to do here? It doesn't really matter. What Alex doesn't want is he doesn't want to have a Volcanion with Fighting Fury Belt, but of course the one on the bench already has a Fighting Fury Belt, and the one in the active has a Floatstone. So I'm just trying to think in terms of which one Alex would rather KO, and to be honest, it doesn't really matter. They've both got one energy. Of course, the one on the bench has got fewer remaining HP, so you would think he would have an easier time of KOing that one. So maybe that's the one he's going to go after. I mean, the ideal here is a cheeky 110 KO on the benched one without discarding any of your bench Pokemon. Just do 110. Followed by, I filled my bench, discard 7 bench Pokemon to get a KO on the Volcanion with the Floatstone. And we saw Scott play an end there, popping Alex down to 4 cards, although he needs a KO or Alex is still just piling damage onto the board. All Alex really needs, and obviously there's plenty more he'd like to have, but all Alex really needs here is to go ahead and get a Mega and an Energy, and he's got 2 Pokemon ready to go. So we see a Remoraid coming down from Scott. He chooses to play the Octillery build of Volcanion. And this means that next turn, if he draws into an Octillery, he can just be using them again and again. You know, drawing up till 5 every turn. Now we see a Dive Ball coming down. This is a really cool play from Scott. I do have Scott's list nicely. And what's really cool about this is that it actually allows you to search for the Octillery and the Remoraid, but it also allows you to go and search for the Volcanion EX because it's dual type water and fire. It doesn't allow you to get the non-EX Volcanion, which is a pain, and it doesn't allow you, because that's your main attacker, and it doesn't allow you to get Shaman, and Scott is playing a single Shaman, but still. So we see a Jinx coming down from Alex there. Just allows him to heal 1 damage counter from his active. And that's what you do with Gardevoir. We've seen Hawlucha, Fungus, Jinx. You need to fill up an Absol. You need to fill up your bench with random Pokemon. So why not just play a whole bunch of random Pokemon that might be useful? You never know. So it's an interesting little way to play it. We're going to see a Gardevoir later on in the tournament, which is built very, very differently. But we'll get to that one later. For the time being, we've got Alex. So he's got the energy. Oh, and he's got the Mega as well. That is awesome. Alex now has his 2 attackers up. He's 2 prizes up. And Scott has yet to take a prize. Now, Scott has put the Remoraid in the active. And Alex has played a Sycamore. So a Hawlucha here would be brilliant from Alex. To be honest, taking down the Remoraid is not the worst thing ever. Because Abyssal Hand, which is Octillery's ability, allows you to draw until you've got 5 cards in your hand. And having that every turn is really, really useful. Not to mention, makes you almost end-proof. But at the end of the day, it's not the biggest thing ever. And so, Alex KOing the Remoraid is good because it turns off Octillery. I'm sure he'd rather have one of those bench Volcanions. The best route for victory for Alex here is just to KO 3 Volcanion EXs. That is what he wants to do. That is his goal here. So that would be nice. Unfortunately, doesn't look like it's happening. Now, we do see an Ultra Ball for a Hooper here. And clearly, Alex is just going to try and grab himself some EX Pokemon. Fill up his bench just a little bit. Now, interestingly, I have, in my Volcanion video, I believe I mentioned Scorched Earth and Skyfield. I can't exactly remember now. But you can play Scorched Earth in Volcanion. It allows you to discard a Fire Energy and draw until you got 1 card. Draw 2 cards. Scott here choosing only to play Skyfield in his build, which is really interesting because Alex is also playing Skyfield, so we know that Skyfield is going to stay in play for the remainder of the game. As Scott here playing another end, he's trying to put Alex down. He's trying to get fewer cards in Alex's hand, trying to give himself a little bit of an advantage here. And I mean, Scott is playing this right. He's playing the N, feeding the Remoraid had to be done. He couldn't give up a 2-prize knockout. He couldn't give up the non-EX Volcanion because, well, that's your main attacker. That's what's going to win him this game. Getting KOs with non-EX Volcanion while forcing Alex to take 1 prize a turn. So, as much as it's painful to let go of the Remoraid, that was definitely the best play from Scott here. He plays a dive ball. That could have got him the Octillery. He still did the right thing by letting go of that Remoraid. And, is his last Remoraid, because he's playing a 2-2 Octillery line. I mean, this would have seemed like a sensible time to go and get a Remoraid. So maybe his second Remoraid is prized, hence the dive ball for nothing. Or maybe he just doesn't want the Remoraid, he just wanted to look at his deck. That is something that people do. So now we get the Volcanion active, better late than never. And we see a hit for 30 damage here. Sorry, 60 damage because there was 1 steam up. Power Heater for 20. Add 10 for the Fighting Fury Belt. Add 30 for the steam up, and now he gets to attach 1 fire energy to each of 2 benched Pokemon. And you've got to think it's going on the non-EX here. 1 on the EX that doesn't have damage, 1 on the non-EX here. So that he can attack with either of them. Obviously, what he really wants to do here is get the KO with non-EX Volcanion. I can also tell you that Scott is not playing any Max Elixir. That card that allows you to look at the top 6 cards of your deck, find a basic energy you find there, and attach it to one of your benched basic Pokemon. Not playing that, which slows him down a little bit, but also gives him greater consistency. So, swings and roundabouts here. Now, we do see a Pokemon Center Lady from Alex. That supporter that removes 6 damage counters and special conditions, meaning that attack... well, it still didn't do nothing. He still accelerated 2 energy. But Alex here going for the whole, you know what? I'm going to make you work for this. Now, if I was Alex here, I would want a Hawlucha. I would put a Hawlucha back in so fast right now. Because here's the theory. Now, I know that active Volcanion's got 170 HP. But if you can take down 1 non-EX Volcanion, you then play a Hawlucha, the only Volcanion EX on the bench with a Fighting Fury Belt has 120 damage on. So a full bench discard, i.e. discard 7 cards, will be enough to get a KO on any of those Volcanions there. Though I don't know if Alex has actually got enough Pokemon in the deck at this stage to fill his bench up to 8 and even do the discarding. It might be that it's impossible. As I always say in these videos, the players have access to more information than we do. They know what's in the discard, they know what's prized. And they know their lists. Although, like I've said, I do have Scott's list in front of me here. Now, benching that Shaman is a dodgy play from Scott here. However, I think Scott is suspecting, like me, that Alex might not play Lysander. And if he does, he's only playing 1. Because he hasn't played it yet, and oh my goodness, it would have been useful. And he's playing Hawlucha. And to be honest, it doesn't really matter either way, because that Shaman has actually got more HP remaining than the Volcanion with the Fighting Fury Belt. So I take it back if you're watching Scott, and we see an energy retrieval here. Actually wasn't that big a deal. Usually benching a Shaman here would be, because Gardevoir can just one-hit KO with Despair Ray, a Shaman, without discarding anything off the bench. But when your opponent's down to 3 prizes... and, oh, this is it. This is the Big Daddy attack. He's used 3 steam ups if I have seen this correctly. 130 plus 3 steam ups is 220. Now, when we saw the big KO earlier, Alex discarded his Gardevoir on the bench, leaving him with 2 Gardevoirs. Is that going to come back to bite him? Just to finish off that point I was saying before, with Shaman, usually it's a bad bench. But you know what? If you've already got an easy EX prize on the bench, and your opponent's only got 3 prizes remaining, it's kind of a moot point. So, also, I told you Scott plays 1 Shaman in his list. I am all in favour of playing 1 Shaman in Volcanion. Most people go full Shaman or full Octillery. Scott's going Octillery with 1 Shaman. I think that is the best way to do this, ladies and gentlemen. I really do. By the way, if you want an analysis of Scott's deck list, Scott did actually send me his deck list. Scott has given me his blessing to do an analysis of his Volcanion deck. So, if you'd like to see an analysis of Scott's list and win or lose this game, it is a really good list. Get some comments down. Tell me you want some analysis, because if you tell me you want analysis and enough people say it, I'll do it. Now, we're in the same position as last turn here. Alex just did 110 to the Volcanion. Alex is running out of steam. Get it? Volcanion. Running out of steam. I went there. If Scott can get something like a Fisherman, for instance, not that he plays Fisherman, but if he can get an energy retrieval and one other energy, he can steam up 3 times, he will win the game right here. Also, shout out to Scott for showing with dice how many steam ups he's been doing every turn. That's a sound play. So he is in the middle of playing a Trainer's Mail. I'm willing to believe there isn't an energy retrieval there, because if there was, I think Scott would have slammed it down as fast as he could here. Because if he can just get an energy retrieval and an energy, he uses steam up 3 times, there's 3 on the bench, he hits for 220, and off we go. As a side note to all you guys watching, and gals of course, if you are ever playing against a Volcanion deck, play Hex Maniac and use it as often as you can. That's how you win against Volcanion. When you Hex Maniac, if they're not hitting for weakness, they're actually not that great in turns where they're trainer locked. So, just a little pro tip there. It doesn't look... I don't know if Alex is playing Lysander or not. He had 2 or 3 turns where playing a Lysander or 2 probably win him the game. And I don't know if he's playing Hex Maniac or not, but oh my goodness, he needs Hex Maniac in the worst possible way. Now, Scott's taken a couple of minutes here, so it seems like it's in the realm of possibility he can win this turn. But it looks like it's going to take a lot of thought. It's probably unlikely. But then again, why not? Oh, actually, he's got the energy retrieval. But of course, that Volcanion attacked last turn. And Volcanion cannot attack the following turn. Now, if Scott's got a Pokemon Ranger, he can. Because he can turn off the effect of his own Volcanion. But I'm being just a little bit... So now we see 2 steam ups. Oh, and an energy retrieval. He's still 1 energy short on the bench, and I didn't see him play a Pokemon Ranger. Might have played it for a second while I looked away. So we've seen 2 steam ups here. But he still can't attack. Volcanic Heat stops you attacking the following turn. Scott will need to play a Pokemon Ranger here in order to allow his Volcanion to attack. Unless he already has and I missed it, but I don't think I did. So it looks like he's going to have to retreat into one of his benched Pokemon. Oh, and that is a shame, ladies and gentlemen. If Scott had... I mean, we saw double steam up followed by energy retrieval. So if he'd had a Pokemon Ranger, he could literally have done a 3rd steam up with his 3rd Volcanion and then just attacked for the game. But Volcanion EX cannot attack 2 turns in a row. Pokemon Ranger will allow you to. But it's a moot point. So... he's here, he's got 2 energy, 2 steam ups, with a Fighting Fury Bout, that's 90 damage and accelerating 2 energy to the bench. At this stage, Scott is in a brilliant position. He hasn't won the game yet, but Alex is running out of attackers. Now Alex, on his turn, he needs a Gardevoir, he needs a Spirit Link, he needs an energy. That's the minimum he's going to go and need next turn. The absolute minimum he's going to need. Because... otherwise, I mean, that Volcanion is going down next turn regardless. It's irrelevant. Oh, and has he used a 3rd steam up here? No. So here we go, just attaching energy to the bench. Now, there was a 3 on that dice for a second. So no, there were 3 steam ups. So we had 3 steam ups, which does 90. Add the 20 normal is 110. Add the Fighting Fury belt is 120. And of course, using Steam Up here puts the energy in the discard to be attached to your bench. But we saw a Fairy drop coming down there, healing 50 damage, and Jinx healing 10 damage from the active. So we've actually just seen 120 damage done for 1 energy while accelerating to the bench. And then we've seen 60 damage healed without playing Pokemon Center Lady. So Alex has got a lot of tricks in his deck. He's got a lot of stuff going on. He's got his healing, and he's got his Absol, and he's got his Jinx, and he's got his... what's the other one he played? His Fungus. There's just a lot going on. His whole Lucha, if I didn't already say that. Now, he has got the Gardevoir, but you can just feel this game turning. In the first couple of turns, it really... Oh, no, he does play Lysander. Oh, and it's a shame it took so long to come out. But if Alex doesn't have a second energy, this isn't really going to help him. And he doesn't. He doesn't have an energy for that bench Gardevoir. And Scott here, if he can enter 1 while getting the KO, that is basically just going to end the game right here. It is very unfortunate. Alex is going to have to give away that Jinx, but then that opens up a turn where Scott can just Lysander and KO. So... And there we see the float stone. I was going to say, if he's putting something active, it's got to have a float stone on it, because that one ain't attacking this turn. So we are going to see a KO on this Mega Gardevoir this turn. I imagine we will need 1 Steam Up, because he needs to do 150. So we will need a Steam Up to put Volcanion EX's attack up to 160. So we'll need 1 Steam Up. But assuming he's got 1 energy in his hand... and an energy for the Volcanion on the bench, we will see a KO. What we could also see is we need 3 Steam Ups to get a non-EX Volcanion KO. Doable. Absolutely doable here. Now, that Volcanion on the bench from Scott has got 110 damage, which means it's only got 60 HP remaining. So is there a way that Alex can do 60 damage here? Because if Alex can pull out 60 damage, he's doing all right. I don't see how, though. Not without 2 energy on the Mega. Now, if Alex plays Mega Turbo, and I don't think he does... But if Alex plays Mega Turbo here, he would be able to go Spirit Link, Mega Gardevoir, Energy, Mega Turbo to attach an energy from the bench. And then he'd be able to get a KO with a Lysander on, well, pretty much anything on the bench, to be honest, other than the Fighting Fury belted Volcanion. I'm not liking Alex's board here, ladies and gentlemen. I am not liking Alex's board at all. Scott's going to get the KO here. And Alex, I mean, what does he do? I mean, what does he do? He needs an energy, and he needs a Spirit Link, and he needs a Mega Turbo, which so far it doesn't look like he plays. Scott, gold Ultra Balling, 2 gold Ultra Balls. That is just showing off. We didn't even search for anything. Also, side note, even if you don't search, you still have to shuffle your deck. Bad, Scott. Bad. I'm joking. Scott's a much better player than I am. He got 3rd at the ECC this past year, don't you know? So we saw the KO there, and it is not looking good at all here. We saw the KO with just 1 Steam Up with the Volcanion EX, as I suggested. So it's going to take a lot here. If he plays Mega Turbo, and we haven't seen any yet, although we didn't know if he played Lysander, and I know everybody plays Lysander, but we hadn't seen it, and it had been a long time. My guessing with Lysander is that Alex just plays 1, and he didn't draw into it earlier. And you really don't draw into them too fast if you do only play 1. So here we have an Ultra Ball. And looks like he's going for a Hooper. Now, the good news is Spirit Link, Energy, Mega, Mega Turbo will win the game here. That will win the game for Alex. But firstly, I don't think he's got enough cards in his hand. Let's hope with a Shaman in the deck. And secondly, I've seen no evidence that he plays Mega Turbo in this deck. Given that he plays Fairy Drop and Pokemon Center Lady and all these basics to go and put on the bench, I'm going there. I don't think he plays Mega Turbo. Now, the good news is he gets the Hooper. There is a Shaman. He does go for it here. He's even got an Ultra Ball to search out the Mega, and with a Spirit Link, he would be able to evolve this turn. There's the energy. Does he have Spirit Link? He's got Ultra Ball. Does he have Spirit Link Mega Turbo? I mean, clearly not. I know I'm hyping this up like, if he's got this, he's going to win the game. We know he doesn't have it because, well, if he did have it and he hadn't put it down yet, that would just make him mean. And I know, Alex. I've played against him. He is a lovely chap. When we play, we have very fun games. I don't tell you that Athena Games in Norwich is one of the best places in the country for nothing. It is a wonderful place full of lovely, friendly people. So, we saw a Pokeball there. Looks like it was a Tails. Oh no, it was a Head, but there's just nothing in there for him to get. Has he even got a Mega left in the deck, actually? Now, we know there's a Spirit Link left in the deck. We saw it when he was searching there. But it's not looking great. While we are in the middle of a quite long turn, I should say a huge thank you to Scott Simmons and Matt Cotton and all at Athena Games for recording the footage, and then Scott emailed it over to me so I could commentate it and get it up for you lovely ladies and gentlemen. So, sound people, lovely people, one of my favourite places to play in the UK, and it's not... You know, I don't say that for nothing. There are other places I love. Sutton Coldfield is amazing. Nottingham Chimera is brilliant. You know, I have places I love playing. Xeon City Gym is a recent favourite. But Athena Games has got a special kind of friendly atmosphere to it. I do miss it. I moved to Cornwall. Haven't been there for a little while. I need to get up there one day. So, there is... Oh, he had the Mega the whole time. Now, Scott needs a KO. It's as simple as that. Alex, with an energy, will almost certainly win the game next turn. The only thing he won't KO with an energy is... Oh, no, he's only doing 140 max at the moment. So the non-EX Volcanion and the Volcanion on the bench. So he would... Oh, Scott even not even trying to get the KO here. He is manually retreating the Volcanion EX, which is not something we see a lot. He, of course, used the Versa Seeker to grab a Lysander, grabbed the Shaman off the bench, and did a KO with Lysander on the Shaman. So, excellent game from those two players. Thank you very much to all at Athena Games. Ladies and gentlemen, you know the deal by now. Comment, like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter @TheWassy. Thank you very much for watching. Look after yourselves till next time. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.